This is the United States' third largest embassy. This will be the second once it's finished, and here's number 1. Weighing in at a staggering 106 acres, the United States' embassy in Baghdad is the largest embassy in the world. It's not really comparable in size to any other embassy, but to give you a sense of scale, it's almost the exact size of Disney World's Magic Kingdom. But that's where the comparison ends. After all, the Magic Kingdom is a sprawling monument to American power, insulated from the violence and instability of its sweltering hot region by literal and metaphorical walls of money, security, and latitude to self-govern, while the Baghdad embassy compound is the same, but without Space Mountain, so fundamentally different. When the US invaded Iraq in 2003, they set up a temporary embassy in Baghdad's Republican Palace, but they immediately dreamed bigger. In October 2004, Iraq's interim government gave the Americans this sweet chunk of real estate on the banks of the Tigris River, and they got to work designing and building the beast of a thing that sits there today. It was designed by Kansas City-based architecture firm Berger Devine Yeager, coincidentally also by pub order, and built mostly by First Kuwaiti General Trading and Contracting because, due to the profound trust the United States government has in the Iraqi people, there was a rule that no Iraqis could be contracted to build the embassy, for security reasons, so the Kuwaiti company brought in workers from places like Nepal and Bangladesh to do the job. The most secure part, the offices diplomats actually work in day to day, were built by 5 American contractors alongside 1 Kuwaiti one. The whole endeavor, which was originally supposed to cost $592 million, ended up costing a cool $736 million, nearly twice what it cost to build the Magic Kingdom, which again has Space Mountain. I just don't know how you spend $736 million on a place and don't give it a Space Mountain. But in fairness, they did give it a sort of unbelievable amount of other stuff. For starters, 6 apartment buildings featuring bulletproof glass windows for the thousands of people who would be living and working there, big residences for the ambassador and their deputy, 2 office buildings for working, a food court featuring, I'm told, a wide variety of cuisine options, and, I'm told, a cookie bar where, I'm told, all the food is free. All the food is also, fun fact, delivered by armored cars from Kuwait, because if there's one thing Americans in Iraq are gonna do apparently, it's get stuff from Kuwait. There's also a, quote, American club, whatever that means, a vehicle repair shop, a department store, a salon, a movie theater, and a fully equipped gym alongside an Olympic-sized swimming pool, tennis courts, and a soccer field with an irrigation system to keep it alive in the desert. And this doesn't matter, but it came up in a report I was reading and I just had to tell you, for some reason they were stocking 3,568 toner cartridges collectively valued at about $704,000. I guess I don't know how much toner is normal for an office to have because my job is, well, this, but that's too much, right? Also, the streets have quaint American names like Broadway and Main Street. Main Street. Remind you of anything? The embassy stands in stark contrast to much of the rest of Baghdad, which got ranked second to last on an annual quality of life survey in 2023, which was actually kind of big because that same survey usually puts them dead last. They only slid up in 2023 because Khartoum was, and at the time of writing still is, an active war zone. Water shortages, poverty, violence, and, I wouldn't rank this as the same level of issue, but it sure did come up a lot in research, really bad traffic, make Baghdad a challenging place to live. The State Department, for their part, wanted to make sure American diplomats didn't deal with these problems and didn't want Iraq's government to control their access to resources, so they went ahead and made sure their city within a city was self-sustaining and fortified against the rest of Baghdad. Naturally, not everyone in Baghdad finds this super cool and awesome, but if there's one thing the United States doesn't super worry about, it's what the people of Baghdad would find super cool and awesome. What do we worry about? Keeping that soccer field green, baby! As I said, there's irrigation for the soccer field, and actually, the embassy compound's whole water system, from wells to treatment to wastewater, is independent of the rest of Baghdad's. They also handle municipal services like fire, mail, and sewage in-house. They have their own internet uplink and telephone center with Virginia area codes, though if you use the embassy's cell network, it'll give you a New York number. They also have 30 contractors devoted to their 10-generator power plant, which runs on about $21 million of diesel fuel a year. Some, i.e. the Inspector General, have noted that maybe the embassy could stand to run on the local electricity utility like all the other embassies in the area, which would cost 9 cents per kilowatt hour instead of 35, thus saving millions of dollars per year. So maybe they'll switch over, or maybe they'll keep setting money on fire to be special or independent. I don't know, this embassy is about 16 years old. You'll do anything to be special and independent at 16 years old. In all, the compound is home to 21, quote, bomb-resistant buildings, built to 2.5 times whatever the standard level of reinforcement is. Around all this stands a 9+ foot, or 3+ meter perimeter wall made of reinforced concrete with razor wire on top. They've also got security cameras everywhere, and as of 2007, they were adding 151 duck and cover bunkers around the place. The senior staff of the compound have daily security meetings to assess any threats they might be facing, and frequently run emergency drills across the entire embassy. Though hopefully the diplomats and civilians in there would be fine in a breach, since their security guards are the literal Marines. If, for whatever reason, you opt to exit and re-enter the embassy, there are just 5 places to do so, plus an additional 6th for use in emergencies. Each entrance features a big gate and a heavily fortified reception building for people to come through, or, in the case of a breach, to take about $20 million of damage in exchange for buying the Marines inside about 30 minutes to prepare their defenses. But ground entrances, obviously, are for normies. Anyone cool is going to use the 3 helipads. Yeah, the security apparatus around Americans who work in Baghdad isn't just limited to the confines of the embassy. In fact, for safety reasons, American diplomats aren't allowed to fly commercial into Iraq, so right by the airport, there's this place called the Baghdad Diplomatic Support Center, which, among other things, provide planes and copters to get people into and around the country. And by the way, if the US Embassy's fortifications weren't enough, recall that the whole compound is located in Iraq's international zone, better known as the Green Zone, namesake of a Matt Damon movie that I refused to see because he didn't buy a zoo. Anyway, the Green Zone is a 4-ish square mile, or 10-ish square kilometer, or 24-ish Magic Kingdom area in Baghdad that is home to the Iraqi government, the US Embassy, and this big clock, among other things. It's long symbolized power in Iraq, and since 2003, it's symbolized American power. Around the time of the invasion, the US set up a security perimeter around the entire zone, employing bomb-sniffing dogs for anyone who entered, putting up blast walls, demanding a special card to enter, and while those measures have eased in the 20-ish years since they were put in place, the Green Zone is still a wealthy, almost otherworldly enclave that the public couldn't even access until 2018. Today, the checkpoints around the area are open to cars, but not trucks, from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., in large part to ease that terrible Baghdad traffic everyone's talking about. All this to say, not only is the US Embassy compound in Baghdad a massive and insanely fortified area, it's within another massive and insanely fortified area. And look, it's not for no reason. The embassy's been the target of multiple attacks, including one seemingly aimed at its utilities, so I see where this stuff comes from. I just don't get what would make this place worth attacking, let alone defending, because once again, all that land, all that money, no Space Mountain. Why bother? So, the Baghdad Embassy compound has all this in place to protect their soccer field and whatever, but what about you? Sure, you might not have a power plant to protect, but what about, I don't know, your data? Is it secure? Well, it can be, thanks to this video's sponsor, Incogni. In short, Incogni is a service that keeps your data safe from the many, many bad actors online who want to buy it, sell it, or be super annoying with it. The issue here is data brokers, people or companies who buy up loads of personal information and then sell it to whoever. If your phone's getting blown up with spam calls, or someone takes out a big loan in your name, or you find your home address on one of those people search sites, that's probably the work of a data broker. But against all odds, you actually can fight back. You have the right to make data brokers delete your information from their datasets. It's just a massive headache to do it yourself. You have to file requests with each broker, request removal, handle objections, and do it over and over again every time they get your info. Or you can get Incogni, which does all that stuff automatically without you having to think about it at all. So if you want to protect your data online, or stop getting so many dang calls, or just support this channel because you're nice, head to the link below and use code HALFASINTERESTING to get an exclusive 60% off an annual plan on top of a 30-day risk-free trial. And stay safe out there.